Hi everyone, I am Jen, and this is the Real Angel Chronicles, where we share true stories from everyday people who have experienced something miraculous. And so today I have my first guest. She is a yoga instructor, she is a life coach, and she actually has experienced something pretty incredible. So this is Bianca Corey. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, and thanks for the introduction, Jen. I'm very excited to share my angel story and dive a little deeper.
Yay, I'm so excited too.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for sharing these stories with everyone.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear more. So I guess what we would want to start with is just kind of to like set the stage of where you kind of were in your life when the miracle happened. So maybe just describe, maybe like step back to like one day before you received your son.
Yeah, so um, this was about almost 2 years now, I would
Yep.
say. So I was in my new career, which I am a life coach, as we mentioned. I was teaching yoga. I had just really finished my spiritual learnings. Um, Meaning like I had no real spiritual experience prior.
Hmm.
Like through high school and college, I didn't consider myself spiritual and I didn't have really religion or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this was post COVID when all of that changed. I had a broken ankle experience that really changed
Hmm.
my life and put me on a new track. So that's when I switched careers and started to identify as more spiritual and connected.
Mm.
Um, my ankle helped me get there.
Yeah.
So I did have an open mind at the time. And I was really deep in my practices. So I was teaching workshops, I had
Mhm.
clients, I was taking and practicing yoga every day. And so it was a really like well-established routine for me in my
Hmm.
life. And I lost a really good friend of mine. So we learned about it kind of overnight. Like it was a big shock, a big change. And it felt like the first person really close to me that had passed. And I hadn't really figured out like how my brain, body, spirit processes
Hmm.
loss
Right.
because it had been really old grandparents prior to that, like stuff that made sense
Yeah.
almost, where this just didn't really make sense. So
Like,
that's
at the time, did you believe in the possibility of angels?
so I hadn't had any personal experiences prior to this one, and if I had, I might have ignored them.
Hmm.
Um, so I probably called them angels because I've always had a connection to um, that word in the sense of like it was in my spiritual practices when I learned yoga. I actually got a deck of cards called my angel deck. And so
Wow.
I was in the practice of talking about angels as if they were real and supporting me. And I, pulled them with my classes and they really helped me feel connected to something more.
Hmm.
But when I was growing up, my parents weren't religious at all. And so they didn't have that language in the house. But we did believe that like when someone passed, like you were still connected to them in some way. And so
Hmm.
I always use the word angel to describe that connection because it just felt right. And there's a lot of things that I believe in. Like I believe in ghosts and I
Hmm.
believe in spirits and I believe in angels. So angels to me are more like the guide, the person
Yeah.
that, gives you lessons and connections and reminds you of important values or almost has messages where like ghosts might just be an entity that lives in the house. You might not be
Hmm.
connected to you.
Yeah.
And then there's spirits, which might be more like masters or other entities besides humans. There's so many
Okay.
different things and ways to break it down. But
Yeah.
another way that I came across angels and spirits and guides is the Akashic Records.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I did take that training back around, I think, 2020.
Yeah.
And it was around the time that I was like taking yoga teacher training, learning about life coaching. Um, And so it became another tool for me to connect with spirit, with angels, with guides, which I was really into as I was learning all these new practices. So
Hmm.
in Akashic Records, there's your masters, your teachers, and your guides. And
Yes.
so more words for
Yeah.
beings to connect to and get wisdom from. Um, and so by using the Akashic Records to learn more about myself and more about others, it was all like kind of so many words for like one
Right.
purpose, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where I am with it too, is I use the word angels because I feel like it's the best word to use, but it
Hmm.
could be any word.
Yeah.
It's just more about tapping into something greater than yourself is basically the way that I would describe it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were really open then at the time when you
Yes.
received the sign. You were
Very
very like open
willing.
to possibilities. So why don't we talk about like the first instance where you received a sign? How long was it after she passed? And had you been feeling kind of like defeated? Were you looking for signs?
Hmm.
Were you asking or trying to talk to her to like receive some kind of connection? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the summertime. I
Yeah.
remember because I was gardening. I was outside and I was really into my garden this year. So I was taking time to like make a plot of land. It was my first year in the new yard, like clearing out space and planting seeds from scratch and watching things grow. So it was already like a miracle in itself
Yeah.
to be gardening.
Right.
Um, and it was like a warm, sunny day, beautiful day. And she had probably passed like 4 months prior
Okay.
to this. Like I
Yeah.
think it was around April
Yeah.
when she passed. So this was more like middle of summer.
Yeah.
And I was still sad. It was still like
Yeah.
fresh enough that you would come across thoughts and tears would come, or you'd feel just like overwhelmed with
Right.
grief, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so I was still like, I would still say really processing. Like these days, I'm able to think of her in happy ways and not bring up tears as much.
Right.
But this was still like fresh, new, like, why did this happen? I don't understand. Like, so unfair going through those grief thoughts more
Yes.
so. Um, and as I was thinking about her, like, I don't know what made me first think of her. There wasn't like a thought pattern or a trigger. It was
Hmm.
just like she popped into my head.
Hmm.
And as I thought of her, a butterfly flew by me,
Oh,
like right in front of
wow.
me. And it was like the most beautiful butterfly I'd ever seen. It was
Yeah.
blue. And in New England, we don't see like blue butterflies
No.
all that
No.
often. There's like tons of monarchs, there's tons of like white, yellow,
Yeah.
like different bright colors like that. But this was like a like electric blue, like
Yeah.
royal blue with little black markings. And it just
Hmm.
like flew right past me. And I was like, huh. And my brain instantly like connected her to the butterfly, but
Right.
didn't know why. I was just like, coincidence,
Yep.
right? I
Yep.
chalked it up to no big deal. Um, and I can go deeper, but I'll pause there because that's
Yep.
like how it began.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I like that you said everything that you said too, because that is something that I'm starting to gather from the stories I've received so
hmm
far is don't question it when a thought of somebody pops into your mind. Trust that because I am starting to really believe that if there is somebody who pops into your mind, they might be also with you
yeah,
or thinking of you. And that might be the reason. Especially if it feels completely out of the blue and
right.
random, um, why dismiss the possibility
Yeah.
that they're actually connecting with you in some way or
And
tapping
that's
into
what
you?
it felt like. Like it
Yeah,
felt more like she was like, "Hey, I'm still here,"
right.
than like I'm randomly thinking of her. Like
Yeah.
it really did. Like I got warm and fuzzy.
Yep.
Like I felt like excited and
Yep.
I almost laughed at myself because I was like alone in the garden and
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the heck? Like,
Right.
did I really just like see my friend?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
But it continued. So like that
Yeah.
wasn't it was all in that day and then days after that, I would see blue butterflies. So I went to the front
Yes.
yard. I cleaned up my gardening stuff. I started to get ready to leave the house for the beach or whatever I was doing.
Yep.
And I was getting in the car and the butterfly flew through my driveway. Like,
Oh,
so now we
wow.
were on the whole different part of the yard, different side of the house.
Right.
And it was still there following me. I'm like, oh, do you want to go to the beach with us? Like I made a joke to the butterfly because now it was my friend. Like
Yeah.
I like had fully accepted that she was just like checking me out and wanted to be a part of my day. So
Right.
she was hanging around with me, ready to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And then for days afterwards, I saw the blue butterfly on those
Yes.
sunny days, like flying around my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a key piece of it too, is I think sometimes we receive a sign and we can feel it and we know it just from how we feel that this
Hmm.
is something significant and special, but we just second guess ourselves. And so then the sign comes back and it comes back and it comes back to the point where it's too much to dismiss it as coincidence any longer,
Yeah.
because a lot of people would just say, oh, that was just a random accident, that happens. But then if it happens again and again, then finally, I think that forces people to admit, wow, this feels like it actually is something really special.
Yeah. It got to a point where like I couldn't deny it. I had to
Right.
just be like, okay, like she's here with me and
Yeah.
she's communicating with me. And so I felt really happy. Like I
Yeah.
felt overwhelmingly happy that I still had a way to like see her. And I started talking to the butterfly. Like when it would come by, I'd be like, hey, like I miss you. Like I hope you're doing good. Like
Yeah.
it's really fun to see you. Like I started treating the butterfly like it was her.
Yeah.
And like I felt a little silly sometimes, but like it didn't feel wrong. It felt like if I didn't talk to it, I was ignoring her.
Right.
Like I felt
Yeah.
like I had to interact
Yeah.
and it felt really good. It made me happy.
Yeah. So I guess the next thing I would ask you is, what would you say to someone who maybe is like looking for a sign from someone they've lost?
Yeah.
And maybe they're feeling in that kind of tough place that you were of grieving and hurting, and they're not receiving the sign.
Mm.
Um, what would you say to that person to kind of like maybe like talk them through
Yeah.
that?
So I think it can happen a lot of different ways. And the stories I've heard
Mm,
are, you know, all over the place. Like there's no
yeah,
one right way. Like for me, I was completely not asking, right? I was
yeah,
just going about life and it hit me out of the blue because she
yep,
was coming to me.
yeah,
So I think one step is just to be open in case that's your path. Like
yep,
look around, be open, notice things like
yep.
the pattern in the brain, I forget what it's called, but you hear about something and then you see it everywhere.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's
it's
like
just
a
like
pattern
looking for a red
recognition.
car, and then
Yes.
you start seeing
And you
red
see
cars
red
everywhere.
cars everywhere.
Yeah,
So like telling yourself angels are possible and
yeah,
then starting to see what might come from
right.
that belief.
Yep.
So I think it takes having an open mind and seeing the beauty in the world. So you have to
Yep.
be present. You need to look around your surroundings wherever you go. You
Okay.
have to listen to sounds and music and really immerse yourself in the different senses
Yep.
because who knows how they'll communicate with you. I've heard music, I've heard voices, I've heard symbols, I've heard
Hmm.
drawings that, it could be absolutely anything. Like
Yep.
they don't have the same restrictions as humans.
Yep.
So open your mind, be present, work with the senses in general.
Hmm.
I mean, there are people that help you connect. So there are like mystics and
Yeah.
psychics and people you can talk to help you
Right.
connect. Like my friend wanted to communicate with her cousin. So
Hmm.
she and her parents set up a night with the family and they had a medium come in
Yeah.
and worked with her and
Yeah.
actually did speak with their cousin.
Right.
So that's one direct route,
Yep.
to really, if you're trying to find them right away and you're on the path to find them
Yep.
instead of waiting for them to come to you.
Yep.
Um, so hands off, hands on, all different avenues. Um, and, the first time a sign does pop up or doesn't pop up, like questioning it, but almost like leaving it up to like possibility, like we
Yes.
mentioned, like
Yep.
you can be like, huh, that's just a weird coincidence the first time, but then the second time it
Yep.
happens, like maybe start leaning into it and
Yep.
like I said, have a conversation with it.
Yep.
Write a letter, say
Yeah.
something out loud, sing their favorite song, play their favorite music, like do something, do an activity that they enjoyed, like
Hmm.
try and bring their essence into your space.
Yep.
So there's things you can do, and then you can also be hands off with it. If you're
Yeah.
afraid to interact, if you don't want to do anything different,
Yeah.
be like me and just garden or do something you
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
and be relaxed. Like I think
Yep.
that was part of it as I was like using my hands in
Yes.
the garden. I was allowing the sun to soak into my skin. I wasn't rushing. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was very much just like, this is really peaceful and calming and
Yeah.
wonderful. Ooh, a butterfly.
Right.
Like I was able to like
Yes.
engage with my surroundings.
Yeah.
So I said a lot.
No, but that was a beautiful, and I completely agree with everything that you're saying. And I feel like that is a common theme that I've seen in a lot of the stories is people receive a sign when they're able to be in a place where, like you said, you were actually like outside
Hmm.
in the fresh air, working with your hands, like just generally feeling yourself to be in kind of like a higher vibrational state.
That's a good way to
Um,
say it.
and like you said, open to receiving. So I think obviously when you said it took 4 months before you received the sign, I think that's a key point too, is you might have to go through a darker grieving period before you're really open and ready to receive a sign, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I think letting go of like a timeline for it is really important because it could take a while.
I'm
But that
sure
doesn't
some
mean
of the
that,
stories it's been years, right?
right, yeah, yeah, it could be. When I received my sign from my grandfather, it was within a couple of days.
Wow.
But I was not spiritual at all. And after I asked for a sign, I completely forgot about it. And so I don't think I was ever in a state of, where's my sign? Or, like I can't find anything anywhere.
Hmm.
So I think that potentially helped. Yeah, so I love that we're sitting together and we had kind of different experiences with how we received our sign, where yours came about 4 months later and
Hmm.
mine came just a day or two after.
Yeah.
And I like that that just shows people just let go of timelines completely
Hmm.
as much as you can, and just be kind of open and relaxed about the possibility that it could arrive in some way that you're not expecting. It probably will arrive in a way that you least expect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when we're thinking about butterflies and your friend, do you think there's any particular reason why she might have chosen a butterfly or why that might be the sign for your friend? Is that something that you ever thought about
Hmm.
when you first saw a butterfly? Did it immediately make you think of
Hmm.
her or?
So it's funny because like when she was alive, looking at her, I wouldn't like think butterfly, like
Right,
she didn't have like an obsession with butterflies or butterfly tattoo or jewelry, like it wasn't
right.
like I'm actually wearing a butterfly necklace. That's
Oh, wow.
kind
Oh,
of
I
a
didn't
funny
notice
coincidence.
that. That's so pretty though.
So I have butterfly earrings and a
Were you
butterfly
thinking
necklace
about
on.
that?
Not at all.
Oh my gosh.
So she's with us right now.
Wow,
But
that is so cool. I love that.
no, when she was alive, no butterflies. But now thinking about it, now that you've asked the question, um, she had been going through cancer treatment, and was diagnosed a couple years before her death with cancer. Her death had nothing to do with cancer. It wasn't because of the cancer. So, she was actually in remission and fully healing from her
Okay.
cancer.
Yeah.
But the butterfly to me now, it's obvious that it symbolizes her because it does feel like a freedom, like a
Yeah.
release. And she
Yes.
was the most beautiful soul. She was the brightest, happiest. Like she always made you bubbly and happy. Like she was
Mhm.
never in a bad mood. She was even happy all through her cancer treatment. Like it was kind of amazing how optimistic she always was.
Right.
So like when you see butterflies, that's what you think of. It's like pure joy and happiness and
Yeah.
gorgeous. Like you don't get bad vibes from a butterfly, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it made total sense after the fact, but no, when she was alive, it was never automatic. So seeing a butterfly just naturally in those 4 months prior wasn't, oh, that's Anna. Wasn't until that moment where like she told me it was her, like I
Right.
had that. Why am I thinking about her as this butterfly is crossing my path that I made that connection and that
Yeah.
became obvious that it
Yeah.
was her. And it's that blue butterfly too. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's now anytime I see a butterfly, I think of her, which is beautiful. So it is like a connected gift
Hmm.
because like this now reminds me of her also because we're
Yeah.
talking about her, but specifically her being with me, it was that blue butterfly. I felt like she was in the butterfly. Like
Yeah.
it felt very much like her eyes were watching me in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. That's really beautiful.
Thanks.
So, have you ever shared with anybody else about receiving the sign? Maybe some of your other friends that you had in common,
Yeah.
or is this something that you just kind of keep close to your heart and you don't talk about?
It's
Maybe
funny
this might
because
be
it's
your
a
first
little
time
bit of both.
sharing.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
At first I didn't tell anyone because I was like almost a little like I felt like guilty almost.
Hmm.
Like I didn't, we weren't like, she wasn't my best friend. She was a close friend of mine. We got closer at the end.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, some of her friends would say that they're like more close friends with her than I
Yeah.
am. Like I
Right.
might look like an outsider to them.
Yeah.
So I almost felt embarrassed, like telling people and her friends that like I had seen her
Yeah.
because I like they'd be like, you didn't even know her that well, you know, like she wasn't your best friend, she was mine. Like it almost felt like I felt guilty having that connection to her.
Yeah.
But we were very close towards the end. We talked almost every day. We got lunch. Like we spent so much time together that it was almost like something new she was leaving and it was our time to like connect and make sure we spent time together
Yeah.
before. So there was a little bit of like guilt, like explaining it to like my other friend who we share in common. So my best friend was
Hmm.
one of her best friends.
Yeah.
So we had that dynamic where like the three of us would get together, but she was closer with her and I was closer with her.
Yeah.
So we had that, you know, dynamic of like they had known each other a lot longer. So I
Yeah.
was almost afraid to tell her because I didn't want to sound weird that I'm like having these experiences with her
Yeah.
and she might not be, you
Yeah.
know? So it almost like was like this weird, like closeted secret
Yeah.
thing. But then I did tell that friend because she was really close to me. And so I was like, you know, I've been feeling like I'm seeing her.
Yeah.
And she thought it was awesome, right? She thought it was
Right.
beautiful. And she's like, that is so cool. Like, do you really think it's her? Like, do you think I'll see her? I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe she'll come to you in a different way. But yeah, like it almost felt like at first I was afraid to tell people because it either felt silly or I was like taking something that I didn't deserve
Right.
almost. Like
Yeah.
she wasn't mine to have
Hmm.
afterwards, you
Hmm.
know? And like she had a boyfriend at the time and like he probably would have thought it was really weird that I was like feeling like I was connected to her, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, they probably find it beautiful and like it
Yeah.
really is a gift to share those stories and it probably would make them all very happy if I opened up and told them all
Yeah.
how it happened. So if I ever do see them, I will tell them the story and connect with
Yeah.
them about it because I do find it really special and it keeps her living on, you know, like they
Yeah.
want to know that she's still there and that we can talk about her still and that
Yeah.
she's not forgotten. And I think that's what they want more than anything else. So
Right.
yeah, it was interesting because like I wanted to share the story, but at the same time it was hard. It was
Yeah.
definitely hard too
Yeah.
because you don't
I
know how
can,
everyone's going to take it.
right. Yeah, I can completely relate. I was the same way. I didn't share my story for years. I didn't tell anyone. But that's a part of why I love doing this project, is because I want people to start to feel more comfortable talking about these stories.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, when you shared it with one of your friends, you said that she thought it was like amazing and
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And I think like it's possible we could really inspire other people. And
Absolutely.
maybe other people start looking for signs and
Yeah.
start seeing them once they hear our stories.
And almost like
Um,
I didn't know I had a story until you came to me
right.
and was like, "Do you have a story to share?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I do." And like
Yeah.
I knew you were doing the stories and I didn't think to come out and tell you my story until you like
Right.
dug and were like, you must have one." And I'm like, "Oh my
Right.
God, I really do."
Yeah.
And so like I think that happens probably with everybody where like they don't go around thinking of their story or like telling other people or noticing it until they're like prompted to.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a cool feature. I think
Yeah.
you'll find that everyone has at least one or knows of somebody that has one.
Right. Yeah. I
Mhm.
do. I have that feeling too, that I think these stories are a lot more common than we are acknowledging
Yeah.
and talking about. And hopefully we get the conversation going a little bit more. So,
And you know, I've mentioned to you too, like a guy, a contractor came into my house once
right. Yeah.
and somehow we got on the topic of spirituality and he told me the most amazing
Yeah. I need to talk to him.
story. I know. It's like I don't even remember his name, but like that's how common it could be. Like it could be
Yeah.
someone who literally comes in to clean your drain pipes or something and you
Right.
get to know somebody. So that's the other thing. It's like we are so much in the world of internet and, you know,
Hmm.
doing everything online, shopping online. Like
Yeah.
getting out into the world, not using those online stores, like
Yep.
meeting people in person, talking to the
Yes.
person coming to do a service in your home instead of hiding from them.
Hmm.
Like that's how you're gonna open yourself up to magical opportunities
Yes.
because we'll learn so much from strangers. And
Yep.
like you can really have so much in common with someone on the street that you're passing by. And I think that's the problem with the polarity of our existence right now is like everybody feels like everyone's an enemy or
Yeah.
different than. And I think that we need to connect and really bring back that community spirit.
Yes.
Cause like this guy just came into my home to sell me something or fix something. And we started talking about like politics and then spirituality and then the world and boom, he had this amazing story of how he was connected to his dead brother.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anyone could have a story.
Yep. I completely agree. I love that you said all that. And it reminded me, since I've been working on this project and it's a new project, I was actually hoping that I would hear the song. And I haven't talked about that yet in this interview, but my grandfather's sign for me is a song called Honeybee. And I was hoping that I'd hear it just as like a little nod of encouragement that I'm on the right path. It just would have helped me to feel good about this project. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it in
It's
months.
probably on purpose. Test
Um,
you.
but we did something kind of unusual. I went out with Chris and my husband Chris, my son Trevor yesterday, and we did just a different drive. We went to a shopping center we don't usually go to. I do most of my shopping online now too.
Hmm.
But yeah, we had just gone out and it was just a little different outside of the normal routine,
Hmm.
basically. And Honeybee came on the radio. So yes, I think that is like beautiful what
The
you
day
said
before I'm coming
about,
here to record with you.
yeah, yep, exactly.
Hmm.
So getting out of the routine, like you said, connecting with actual real life human beings is huge for because a lot of times signs do arrive through another person.
Hmm. Hmm. That's a
I
really
love
good
that.
point.
So I think we've covered a lot, but I think maybe we could close everything out with maybe you could just talk about like how this experience has changed you, your perspective on life and death,
Yeah.
and just what you will carry forward from the
Yeah.
experience.
So, I have always been really afraid of death. I think it's
Yeah.
something that, one of the biggest fears in my life is losing my parents.
Yeah.
Which is like always a hard topic. I always like get really sad when I imagine it.
Yeah.
So it's a terrifying thing for me. I don't think I'm as afraid of my own death. I'm more afraid of losing
Other
people
people.
close to me.
Hmm.
And so I think this story and this experience, and the more I'm hearing them, it makes me realize that like although they're not with you in the human body,
Hmm.
they'll always be with you in spirit. And so it's a little bit comforting. I'm not going
Yes.
to say it completely heals it.
Yeah.
But it's comforting to know that when it is someone's time to go from their human body, there is still a way to communicate and connect with them in another realm, in another plane, and that we probably will reconnect someday in
Hmm.
that same plane. And for now, they want me to live my life as happy and joyful as possible and not
Yeah.
to spend all my time grieving and thinking about the past.
Hmm.
So, as healthy as it is to grieve and it is lost placement of love, it's, they're coming to you to say, I'm okay. I want
Yeah.
you to be okay. And that is like a silver lining,
Yes.
hopefully, to get me through my deepest fears.
Hmm.
So I do hope that it's started to make me feel more comfortable. And as I've lost other people, um, after her, I think that it hasn't gotten easier. It's never easy to lose someone, but it makes me more open to trying to communicate with them afterwards and
Hmm.
not just assuming them as gone. Like my
Yep.
uncle, for example, I lost him last year. And I think that was one of the hardest for me because I was with him in the end. I was taking him to his treatments.
Yep.
I was spending time with him when he wasn't himself anymore. Like he
Hmm.
almost was less of himself when he was here
Yes.
than after he passed. Like
Yes.
after he passed, I felt like he was watching me. I hadn't had my baby yet. And so once I had my baby, I like imagined him still meeting
Yep.
him and being with me in that moment. And like I sometimes say to Oliver, I'm like, I think Uncle Pete is here with us and
Yeah.
like encouraging like him to still be a part of my life,
Yep.
even though he's passed. And so it's scary, it's hard, but knowing that they're still there and there's still a way to communicate with them is really heartwarming and
Hmm.
hopeful.
Yeah. And I have had a lot of the same experience as well. A lot of the times when I hear honeybee is it's a joyful experience, joyful time.
Yeah.
One time I was with my whole family, we were driving to a Red Sox game. It was my son Trevor's very first Red Sox game.
So fun.
And we're all, the family, my grandfather, were all Red Sox fans. So it was almost like a direct communication of, I'm joining you and I'm here with you for these really joyful moments in life.
Aww.
So yes,
That's
I completely
awesome.
feel the same.
So keep your hearts open.
Yeah. I guess we could just end with, if you want to share anything about yourself, how people could connect with you.
So I am available online. My Instagram is bonks_Corey, which I'll give the spelling to you to post with the episode. And my website is biancacoreycoaching.com. You can reach out to me through my website or my Instagram, and we can connect if you want to learn more about yoga, workshops, coaching, anything like that. I'm always open to chat, and hopefully we'll be having some workshops this summer.
Oh, great.
Maybe we'll do some workshops together.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for coming.